welcome to Babylon with Vampa. I'm your host, Vampa, and with me, as always, is my lovely co-host, Ded McMahon.
Hello!
If you're just joining us for the first time now, thank you so much. Don't be shy about pressing my buttons, specifically the like and subscribe ones. And if you've already done that and you've watched the show before, and you're in a position to help us out and help us grow, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. There's tons of perks for people to enjoy if you subscribe, like the Vampa's Viewing Show, and we're going to be doing a show tonight with that. My guest tonight's going to stick around, and we're going to talk about Hellraiser, so you don't want to miss that. So the past few weeks, we've been doing a new segment called Ask Ded. We have had some of our viewers who they're just clamoring to know everything about Ded. He's very mysterious. And so we've been going through those questions, and tonight we have one from Christopher Houlihan. And he asks, Ded, what's your favorite dog?
My favorite dog? Well, you know that saying, it's a dog-eat-dog world? My favorite dog is the dog that eats the other dog.
Ooh, geez, Ded, that's pretty rough. Anyway, I'd like to bring out my guest for tonight's show, actor Philip Digby.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Philip. Thank you so much for coming down to the lair and hanging out with me.
Thanks
and
so much
Ded.
for having me.
Of course. Philip plays Richard Gans in the latest film by writer-director Susana Kapastacy. And, I've seen the trailer to the film, and it seems very interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about the film?
I killed 24 people.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's definitely the goriest, bloodiest movie out there right now, I think anyway. So basically it's about this filmmaker who's kind of struggling to get by. He doesn't really have a lot going on for himself. And then he gets a call one day from the Zodiac killer, like the Zodiac killer. Mm-hmm. And then he commissions Richard Gans to make a movie for him. So he's got to go out and he's got to kill all of these people in order for the Zodiac killer to get his slaves for paradise, because apparently that's what he had wanted in the first place when he did all the killings.
Why else would you?
Yeah, exactly. No argument here. Mm-hmm. But I go out and I kill a bunch of people in really unique ways, and it's certainly very gory, and I make the film, and we'll see what happens after that.
So this is a shot-on video film, and I guess it takes a lot of homage and reverence for those films from the 80s and 90s shot-on film.
Yeah, absolutely. Susana is...
Or shot-on video, not film.
Yeah. Susana absolutely loves that stuff. And I, to be honest with you, I did not know about shot-on-video filmmaking or films or even knew of its existence prior to doing this project. I've been, obsessed with movies and horror movies specifically my whole life, and there was this whole layer and world that I had no idea, and Susana is all about it. So we actually used cameras from the time. From that era, cool. A lot of the same cameras that they were using, same brands and everything, to film our movie. We shot it all on VHS, SVHS. We shot it on U-Matic, all vintage cameras from the time. And there's a lot, and it's definitely very meta. It's very layered. We make a lot of references to the old school guys in their films, and kind of do a kind of postmodern look at shot on video, and for a new era kind of.
That's really cool. I was not very aware of the shot-on video, underworld either. Same as you, I love movies, horror movies, been a film buff for a long time, but I kind of got familiar with them a few years ago when I started making movies, and then kind of doing research for this movie, I was looking at some of the different filmmakers, their filmographies on IMDb, and I got kind of curious, and I was like, wow, I really don't know any of these movies. I was expecting to see, oh, yeah, I know that one, but I don't, so.
Yeah, I hadn't seen any shot-on-video movies prior to making this, and I'm still really out of the loop on a lot of the stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, I've learned a lot, since then, and I've seen a lot of those movies, and it is an acquired taste for some of this stuff. I'll be honest with you, I'm more of a Paul Thomas Anderson guy. I like Wes Anderson, of course Stanley Kubrick and like all the big shots. But I love John Carpenter too. And it's kind of a sliding scale from there. But some of these guys that were doing it back in the day, like Tim Ritter and the Polonium Brothers, it was total DIY stuff, and it definitely slipped under my radar.
Yeah, same here. I like that kind of low budget stuff, though. I think sometimes it can get a little gritty for me, and I'll lose interest. But yeah, and especially now myself making films, I have a way more appreciation for that because I know what goes into it.
Yeah, you have to. It's so hard to make a movie. You really have to respect the the tenacity that and the fortitude one would have for being able to put something together and having it take so long with such limited resources. It's really impressive, and there's a whole spirit to it that if Susana were here, unfortunately with regret she could not make it, but if she were here, she would have a whole speech for you about the value and the spirit of shot on video. Yeah. She really believes it.
Yeah, and I can tell. I follow her on Instagram, and I had contacted her to be on the show, and then she put me in contact with you. So, and that was partly why I was intrigued by it. I can see her passion, and I can see her personality and everything that comes through. So that's really cool. What are some of the challenges that you guys had shooting on retro equipment?
The cameras kept breaking. We went through a series of cameras, and much of which died during the course of the filming.
Yeah.
And we'd have to get new cameras, and then batteries were an issue too. And then they wouldn't work correctly in some if there was inclement weather. There was a scene we filmed outside. It had just started snowing actually, and it only snowed for the time that we were shooting. Fortunately / unfortunately for us, but the tape kept freezing and the gears kept freezing in the camera, and we really had to struggle and hurry up and get the shots that we needed. Compounded by the fact that it was freezing, we were all so cold and getting frostbite. But we managed to pull that off. So we definitely lost a lot of cameras in battle, that's for sure. But thankfully, nobody buys these cameras anymore, so you can get them on eBay for $80 or something like that. Whereas back in the day, they would cost $20,000 or something.
And is that where you find the tape on too on eBay? Is that where she found those?
Yeah, she's got a whole network of people that she goes to for stuff like that. A lot of it's on eBay, and we've got all kinds of weird cameras too. We used a Soviet camera from the 80s that we had to get special Soviet film for. Yeah, and it was she's very intense into that stuff, and God bless her for it.
That's really cool. That's very interesting. I'm not a techie person. A little bit. But when I hear about these kind of things and this innovation, it's very impressive to me. I always kind of had a fantasy that I could make a movie on a Game Boy camera. I don't know if you remember those.
Yeah.
How they worked. So that's a little bit of that's tapping into something with me. It's kind of inspiring to hear. Maybe I can do this.
Yeah, put some Mario Paint in there. I think you can pull it off.
Yeah. Very inspiring. Cool stuff. How did you like playing the killer? How was that?
Well, he's the killer, but he's also the hero. And what was important for me was because it's such a tricky balance, because this guy is going out and he's killing all of these people, including children and people in wheelchairs and demographics of people that one would not probably want to see on screen. But at the same time, he's the hero, and you have to make and because he's got this passion project that he's making, this film for the Zodiac killer. It was important that the audience would have to root for him and have to want him to finish his movie. But at the same time, the thing that he does as a means for that is to murder all of these people in such gruesome and graphic ways, and unique ways too.
Yeah.
So trying to find the balance between those two things to make him likable but also make him the sadistic killer was something that we kind of had to figure out along the way. But I think we got it.
Yeah. So as an actor, you kind of have to play a little bit of a person that you would probably want to be around and to get to that, to being a person who you don't obviously want to know, obviously a killer.
Right. Well, sympathy. The sympathy card was one that we definitely played here, because if you can't like him, you can at least feel bad for him and want him to succeed in that regard. So he's a person who's very down and out on his luck. He definitely can't get a date, hold down a job, doesn't have any like real friends or family or anything. And the one person who is in his life, his landlord, who's played by the immaculate Victor Ruiz, is, and that's kind of a toxic relationship because he's behind on his rent and there's that pressure there. So this is a guy that has nothing basically, and has had things taken from him. And this is his one shot to give his life meaning, and the only person that believes in him, the only person that has ever believed in him, is the frickin' Zodiac killer.
Wow.
So that's that dynamic too of like, there's this person who believes in me and needs something from me, is asking me to do all these horrible things. So there's that kind of plays into it as well.
Yeah, I can see that, and especially as a filmmaker who is myself, and I'm trying to I want someone to believe in me and give me a job. It's like that already out the gate. I see that. I feel it. It does kind of feel a little bit like you're going on a murderous rampage when you're making a movie. So
yeah. We had so many of those.
So this is a first here on Babylon with Vampa. I hear you brought a clip that kind of explains a little bit about your character, Philip.
Yes, we brought a clip here. I think this, there were so many things that I could have chosen to exemplify this character, but I think, this one pretty much, sums it up and give you a good idea about who he is.
All right, well, here's the clip.
Makes Blood Cult seem like a classic. Video violence only has a core score of 7. Ah, Jazz, I know you're giving me a 10, buddy.
All right, that was very that was fascinating.
Integral.
Thank you for sharing that clip with us.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned also that there's I don't even know if you said this before the interview or while we were talking here, all the inventive kills that Richard does for the Zodiac.
We have a lot of really unique kills, and kills that also we paid homage to the original shot on video movies as well. So we really, because there are so many kills in this movie, there's 24, we really kind of had to go out of our way to really kind of make them entertaining and unique. There's this one where, there are a lot of fun to film too. There's actually this one where I cut this woman's heart out, and then it's beating in my hand, and then I shoot it into a basketball hoop, and then it plops down on the ground, and when it does, a dog comes and eats it.
It's always great.
Yeah, so you could say we had a real blast filming.
Yeah. Do you have a clip of that one?
I do.
Let's see it.
Makes Blood Cult seem like a classic. Video violence only has a core score of 7. Ah, Jazz, I know you're giving me a 10, buddy.
Okay, well, I don't know if that's just me, but I think did that seem really similar to the other clip that we saw?
No, it wasn't.
No?
No. Well, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't want to argue. It's your show. I don't want you to think I'm gaslighting you.
Well, all right. What about some other kills then?
Okay. Well, our good friend Tim Jenkins, who is in the band Acid Witch, we're all friends here.
Mm-hmm. We know Tim.
Yeah, he is in our movie as well. There comes a point where, and we had to build a blood cannon for this. So we've got a blood cannon that we built. Susana built it, and she's got a very secret, kind of blood recipe that she's got going on.
That's some good-looking blood, too.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And there's plenty of it. Countless gallons, easily in the double digits, of which I can't remember because it was just so many. And we built a blood cannon. It's a pump right now, so it just kind of spurts. We're wanting to motorize it so it's a continuous stream for the next film.
That's awesome.
In this scene, I cut off Tim's arm, and there's this giant spurt of blood that comes out and just gets everywhere, just all over the place. And then I take his arm and I beat him to death with it.
That's always like, the threat, like, I'm gonna rip off your arm and beat the shit out of you with it or something. So we have a clip of this one too,
yes,
right?
So we got a clip of this. So it's gonna be in me, and then you're gonna see a pretty nasty paint job here. It's just gonna be a mess.
All right, here it is.
Makes Blood Cult seem like a classic. Video violence only has a core score of 7. Ah, Chaz, I know you're giving me a 10, buddy.
Okay, that was definitely the same clip we just saw twice, right? I mean, there might have been a paint job, but I don't know if it's...
Each clip that I was asked to bring a clip, and I brought a clip, and I think each one we play is integral to the film, and really, it kind of exemplifies what I am about personally.
Okay, good to know. I mean, all right. Are there any more clips, or any more, impressive kills that you brought clips of that we could talk about?
Yes, so the grand finale.
Okay.
So we got a wood chipper for this one. So, and we used so many gallons of blood for this. So basically what we did was we filled up a bunch of water balloons and then stuffed them into some pants. So, and then used duct tape to, kind of secure them in. And then we put the pants, into the wood chipper kind of top down like this. And all the water balloons came out, and then...
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it's in the clip that I'll show. It's going to be me, and then a huge explosion of guts on the other side.
All right. Okay. We're going to see this clip now. Here it is.
Makes Blood Cult seem like a classic. Video violence only has a core score of 7. Ah, Chaz, I know you're giving me a 10, buddy.
Wow, Philip, that really, there's not a lot of diversity here, is there? Well, I mean, we just pretty much saw the same clip, I think, like 3 times in a row, right? 4 times? Why don't we take a break now? We're going to go for another Babylon with Vampa first. Well, they're going to take a commercial break right now to figure this all out.
Makes Blood Cult seem like a classic. Video violence only has a core score of 7. Ah, Chaz, I know you're giving me a 10, buddy.
All right, well, we're back, and I thought that was a commercial, but I guess that was that clip again. Thanks for bringing that clip.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really has given me a lot of insight into the character of Richard Vance.
That's the only thing that you need.
Yeah, of course, makes sense. So moving on, do you think that there is something similar about, I mean, I kind of brushed on this earlier, but do you think that's similar to, like, making a movie where it's just you got your creator and Susana, and then yourself and whoever else is helping that day, and you're kind of dealing with the elements, and is the camera gonna freeze up? Are we gonna get this shot? Is the blood cannon gonna be correct? Do you think there's any similarity in that in going through all that as there is in actually being a serial killer and taking the direction of a serial killer and killing?
I think being a serial killer would be a lot more fun, and you could fuck with people more, way more.
Yeah.
And have that kind of ability to build that kind of legend around yourself, like the Zodiac killer did. Now, it would take a lot more planning if you were to, attempt to get away with it.
Yeah.
I know that if I were a serial killer, I would plan that to a T. I would be very proactive in my, in planning it and that execution and being. I wouldn't leave anything to unnoticed. I would everything would be on point. That's for damn sure.
So it's interesting. I think if you're a killer or if you're a filmmaker, to have an eye for detail is important in both areas.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I mean, if you're when you're filming a movie, you are at the at the whim of the elements, but that's part of the shot and video spirit, as I understand it. It's the limitation spawns innovation.
Of course.
So when we're held back by something, sometimes that's when the true magic of the situation actually comes out. Now, we were filming one kill here, in which we blow somebody's head off with a grenade, where we had the guy come and we just didn't have anything. We didn't have a props or a scene or anything like that. Nothing kind of set up. Just we knew we were gonna blow this guy's head up. So we took the $5 that we had and then went to the store and we ended up buying some Faygo and through some kind of magic and in the momentness, we had this guy pour Faygo all over himself, and it's definitely the funniest scene in the movie. And then we blow off his fucking head
after he pours Faygo on himself.
Oh yeah!
Wow, I like that there's a Faygo appearance.
It's very Michigan-centric. We actually filmed a scene at John King, the bookstore downtown.
Oh, cool.
And we did so surreptitiously. They did not know we were doing that, so we wanted to make sure we were very secretive.
True there. Indie style.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Don't let them know. They don't need to know.
We went to Belle Isle, and we Pizza Connection is a local pizza place. It has very good pizza, so here's your plug on that. So we definitely wanted to make sure that this was very Michigan-centric, although there are so many Miami Dolphins references in the film that I again, that's another one of those things that I lost track of. And at the premiere that we had a few months ago, we had a series of drinking games associated with the viewing, and Miami Dolphins was one of them because it was definitely in there.
Why the Miami Dolphins? Is that just a...
Susana loves the Miami Dolphins. She's got her story there, but yeah, she loves them.
That's just one of the things she likes.
Yeah, I'm not a football person, so I can't really, put my 2 cents in.
Like I said, I follow her on Instagram, and I was intrigued by what she was doing, and that's why I contacted her. But it's like she does seem like such a like an auteur. Like she's got her personality really comes through, and just watching like the clips and the trailer and looking at her kind of behind the scenes stuff that she posts on her Instagram.
Absolutely. So. She's incredibly talented, and a visionary, and she did much of the heavy lifting on this film, so it's very much her movie, so a lot of the credit really does go to her. And
I'm especially impressed by the gore because in my own films I've stayed away from gore because I've kind of assumed, that's where you have to spend the money, Oh,
no, not at all.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of gore in my movies, and that's pretty much the reason why. So it's it's eye opening. I'm happy that I'm hearing this. Did you run into any problems with any of the locations? I mean, we were just talking about how there's like no location. Did you ever get into a situation where someone was like, what the hell are you doing here, or like kind of messing with the shots or anything?
Absolutely not, actually. We pulled that off pretty well. We filmed at the aquarium in Belle Isle and the conservatory there. John King, nobody bothered us at all. We would go to public parks in the middle of the day and have blood all over kids and stuff like that, and really nobody batted an eyelash at all. In fact, the one time that it did happen, it actually worked out in our favor. We were filming something, and there were these kids riding dirt bikes on a kind of a road nearby, and they were being pretty noisy. You couldn't really film on it. So instead of begrudging it, Susana actually approached them and asked them to be in our movie, and they were all about it. And they did some tricks, and one of them they rode by in their scooters, and one of them totally ate shit and just like fell. And every time you watch it, it's hilarious. So that's in the movie. But they did great.
That's cool. That's really cool. There's like a real spirit around here, I feel like, in Southeast Michigan, where like if you see someone with a camera and someone covered with blood, you just kind of stay away.
Yeah.
You're not like because you're freaked out, because you're like, oh, I don't want to bother what they're doing. I mean, I've done that before. Like we'll go walk around on Belle Isle, and I see someone doing something with the camera, and I'm like, let's not go over there. Let's give them their space. They're doing whatever, So it makes me happy to hear that, because that's kind of the impression I get from this area. So yeah, we like to be encouraging. I feel like over here in Southeast Michigan,
Absolutely.
and pump up people who are doing something creative. People I know do that anyways, and I like to do that too. So where can we see Night of the Zodiac?
Night of the Zodiac has been released on Blu-ray from SRS Cinema. It is out right now. Cool. You can purchase that. And then it will be at the Planet 9 Film Festival at Planet Ant in Hamtramck on November 12th. That's a Saturday. You can see it then. I know you'll be there.
I'll be there. You guys should go too.
And then it'll be, I believe DVDs are going to be coming thereafter, and then streaming eventually down the line too. But the Blu-rays are out right now.
So is this going to be available on VHS at all?
We actually sold out of the VHSs, I think. We had a bunch of... No, actually, you know what? I take that back. If you would like a VHS copy, which is the preferred method, you can contact Susana Kapastacy on Facebook, the email address, floating around out there somewhere. Mm-hmm. She will dub you a tape and send that out to you. So you can get it on VHS. Yeah, but again, that is the collector's edition, the preferred method, so you get some extra stuff with that.
Are you guys going to have some of the movies available at Planet 9? I don't know if you're going to have.
You know what? That's a good idea. We should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I think we probably should look into that.
Cool. I haven't seen the movie yet. I watched the trailer. The trailer is going to be available on this episode, actually. It looks really fun. And like I'm saying, like Susana seems like she's got a really great sense of humor, and if you like the horror comedy thing and horror and serial killers, I would probably say give this a shot, even though I haven't seen it. I'm just getting a vibe here.
Our goal, my goal anyway, is to be the bloodiest, goriest film production company in Detroit. Mm-hmm. Johnny Braineater Productions. That's the trajectory as far as I can see it, and I think we set the bar pretty high. So, in fact, there was one day in which I was tasked to go to the Eastern Market and buy guts to film with, and I bought 15 pounds of guts from a butcher there, mm-hmm. and not only were they just very encouraging and like thinking that was cool, but one of the butchers there, he actually makes beats, and he gave me his Instagram, and he wanted us to have his beats in our movie, and I'm still gonna take him up on that. Actually, I think one of these days.
That's really cool. That's like the classic way to get the blood feast, Herschel Gordon Lewis with the guts there. That's what he did too. So I imagine it smelled really nice.
Yeah, there's at least 20 pounds of guts in the movie, and again, countless gallons of blood, like seriously a lot. So yes, we went all in on the guts and the blood cannon, the whole shebang.
Cool. What's the name of your production company? You said it.
Johnny Braineater Productions.
Johnny Braineater. Where did that name come from?
Susana. She, I think one of her first movies, there was a character where it was called Johnny Braineater, and the name just kind of stuck. And I think it's a great name because I love it. Yeah, because it just kind of shares who we are. We're kind of silly, but we also are all in on the gore.
Yeah, that's a great combo. What is next for Johnny Braineater Productions? So,
Susana is writing and location scouting our next movie right now. It is called The Emasculator. And the only thing I know about this movie is that the Emasculator is a tool, I believe, that one would use at a abattoir. It's kind of like this giant pair of pliers, pincer type thing where they castrate bulls, and if you use it in a certain way, it will cauterize the wound and close it. Mm-hmm. But if you flip it over and you use it, it'll leave the wound open, mm-hmm. and they'll bleed out. That is the only thing I know about the movie, and frankly, that's all I need to know. So it's got the green light from me.
Yeah, that's got the green light for me too. The title's got the green light for me. So you don't even know who you're going to be playing in this?
I don't know anything about it other than that.
Wow.
But I'm working on a vampire screenplay right now, so we're going to be working on The Emasculator next, and then we're going to be working on the vampire film that I'm writing right now after that, that's got Dracula in it, Hail Dracula. But yeah, so we've got projects for years. We're just going to keep churning them out, and then we're going to up the gore every time. Like I said, the blood cannon we got is just a pump right now, so it spurts, but we want a continuous stream for the next one, and then at least double the gut count, the poundage, I guess you could say. And then, just keep streaming with the blood.
Yeah, that'll be really cool for the Dracula movie. Do you have any details you can tell us about what happens in the vampire movie you're writing?
The only thing that I want to do that I don't really see a lot in other vampire movies is that when you stake a vampire through the heart, they just kind of die. Whereas the way I want to do it, if you stake a vampire through the heart, it's just a geyser of blood that just shoots back out at you. Like the stake comes out and like hits you in the chest, and and it's just completely drenched. And there are numerous scenes in which I stake a vampire through the heart, and it's a torrential downpour of blood, thereafter. And like an illogical amount of blood.
That's
too.
Great.
Like there's no way that amount of blood would come out if you stake them, if any at all.
That's really great. Have you ever seen Dracula Dead and Loving It?
I saw it when it came out, but not after that, no.
You should give that a rewatch. There's a similar scene in that movie.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I might have to steal it then.
You should steal it because, I think that's only been done once, and once is not enough.
No, not
for
at all.
For that much blood.
No, I kill at least, a few vampires.
Yeah.
We definitely, I wrote that movie with the the gallon of blood count and like the amount of gore that we would have to use in mind. In fact, so there's this one scene in the vampire movie where Dracula is helping this person build a fountain. Well, they're not helping. He kills them and makes the fountain out of his bones and his intestines and stuff like that. And then he brings out his fiance, and it's one of those like, okay, don't look. And then it's the big reveal, and then he kills her, and then cuts off her head, pours all of her blood out into the fountain, and then strings up her intestines and bones and skull on the fountain and makes this big grandiose Jeffrey Dahmer-like kind of fountain. And then he's like in the fountain like dancing, and there's going to be a music video, and he's pouring guts all over himself and drinking blood out of a goblet. It's like a pimp cup, and he's just going to be covered in gore, just loving every second of it. So that's look forward to that. Yeah,
I am too. I'm excited to see the Emasculator when that's done. I'm excited to see Night of the Zodiac, but also Emasculator and this. Did you title this?
No, yet? Not yet.
Untitled Dracula Project.
Yep.
That's exciting. Also, don't forget Night of the Zodiac. You can see at Planet 9 Film Fest in Hamtramck, Planet Ant Theater, November 15th.
12th.
No, it's November 12th. Don't listen to anything I just said. Just click on the links in the description. Well, thanks again to my guest, Philip Digby, for coming out and talking about these exciting projects that we're all excited to see.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure watching you on the toilet these past few times here. I'm sure we all enjoyed it. See you next time, guys.
I see that you are working on a movie about me.
How do you know what I'm working on? Nobody knows what I'm working on.
Meet me at 8 Mile and Ford Road, 6 o'clock sharp.
Who is this?
Goodbye.
Slaves for paradise. We need a film. This map provides the means. Guys like the Polonia brothers, Tim Ritter, Donald Farmer, John McBride, these guys fight tooth and nail and tape with no budget and no crew to make their movies. And I'm gonna be just like them.
I got some bad ideas. I got some evil flow. I got a mind for crossing the line. It's not a crime to do get close. I got some bad ideas. I got some bad ideas tonight. I got a feeling running in my head. I never run. Oh yeah.
It looks like you blew your audition.